an honor finally to meet you. By the way, excuse my English.
It's perfecto.
Genial. And congratulations for your movie. It really was a big, marvelous cinema class for me. And thank you so much for your effort and for being this great filmmaker that you are. Now, how are you? How's your day?
I'm not sure about that, but thank you.
And how is your day? You're in LA right now, no? Isn't it?
Now, yeah, I'm in LA. It's noon, and I'm working with Kasama, who's the co-producer in the film. We're writing our next project.
Wow.
Yes,
You don't
not a documentary.
Fiction.
No, it's based on true stories.
True stories, but I mean, is with actors or?
Yes.
Okay, great, fantastic. Later, I'm gonna ask you about that. First question is, what do you feel in terms of person and filmmaker also in this goal that you did rewrite the cinema history?
History, yes. I am cansada. Muy cansada. Mucho trabajando. So it was a big undertaking, but the results are incredible because I'm talking to you, and you're in Chile, and that was my goal. My goal was to change history for Alice, change history for a younger generation, but for everybody that I can possibly reach to know this woman's story. So books can be rewritten, and boys and girls can know that cinema was created by men and women. So I think we're talking to a distributor in Turkey. It's going to open in Croatia, Bangladesh, South Africa. So it's a dream come true. I'm very happy.
And also it's very important for us because Alice Guy grew up here in my country, in Chile.
Libreria Universal.
Yes, yes, Libreria Universal, and we didn't know that. So it's a big surprise for us. And
yeah, we found it. We found it because she did an interview and she talked about it, but we did the research to uncover that. So Emilio Guy, yes, he was one of the first bookshop owners. It's unbelievable.
Yes, unbelievable, and for us it's very important. And what other things did you get from Alice Guy life here in Chile? I mean, do you have more things that in the documentary there are not, but that
yes.
maybe they're important for us?
Yes. So her mother and father went to work at the two stores. They were very busy, and she would be at home reading with Conchita. That's what she said as a little girl. And she learned how to read Spanish and also French at the same time.
So maybe she could speak fluid Chilean.
Maybe. I can't prove it, but she has memoirs that I think are going to be translated into Spanish. But she has English memoirs. They're very small. They're only 80 pages. And she talks about Chile. Poquito, but it's mejor que nada.
Bit. Sí, es better
mejor
than
de nada.
Mejor que nada, sí. Your Spanish was very good.
And
how did you learn Spanish, by the way?
Well, I lived in Italy, France, Switzerland, and Israel when I was a child. And I lived in Costa Rica too. So, with the Italian and the French, and I'm in LA, you pick it up. It's all Latin languages. So I can't speak Portuguese. I tried that. It's too hard.
It's super difficult. It's like Russian for me. It's super hard for me.
I speak a little Russian, but it's because you're supposed to learn Portuguese first and then Italian. And so for me, when I start speaking, if I try, it comes out in Italian and in French. It's like, blah, but it's not. Anyway.
I I ask you about the language because Alice Guy was a woman of different languages. I mean, Spanish, French, English. I mean, different.
Yes.
She didn't speak fluidly English according to the documentary, but
Yes.
she lived in the States and make this great job there. So in terms of pioneer, she was a pioneer in cinema, but also she was a kind of pioneer in feminism, isn't it? What do you think so?
Absolutely. Because at the time, women were not doing any of this. You know, they either stayed at home. A lot of people traveled, and there were a lot of people in medicine. I mean, I think she's the first female filmmaker. Let me just go back to that for a second. Through this documentary, actually, I uncovered so many other stories of women who were doing things. So I'm correcting myself. Maybe it's not a lot of people were doing it, but there were a lot of women in the workforce, in science, in technology of the time, etc. We just didn't know about it because nobody documented it, because women were unimportant. And I think what's special about the documentary is not only telling Alice's story, but it hopefully will encourage other researchers and people to dig into that era so we can find more stories like this and fill history correctly. Because right now it's a painting and we're missing pieces. We don't have faces, we don't have backgrounds, we don't know the full story. So every time we get a new piece of information, we get to add somebody's face, include different people, and really get the whole picture of the era as a whole. Cinema, but the era as a whole. So I think the more people look at that, they're going to find many more women. And of course, she was a feminist. She wanted, women to be the main actors in her films. She wanted to see more women directors. She even wanted to start her own film school. I mean, she's a little bit loca,
Yeah.
because she does too much. She makes us look terrible. But definitely a pioneer in many areas, including being a trailblazer for other women.
Yeah, and also she was. I was surprised also to watch. By the way, your documentary is very good. Making this movie star by Afro-American stars. I mean, Afro-American actors.
Yes.
That's amazing at the time. It's unbelievable.
There's not that many, and she did it because the white actors didn't want to work with the black actors. So instead of saying, "Okay, forget about the black actors, we'll just make it white," she's like, "No. We'll do it this way." So yeah, that's definitely it's forward thinking.
Yeah, it's like a time traveling person from the future in that era.
I do believe that. I'm like, she came from now, she went back, but there was definitely racism back then like there is now. So her films aren't perfect. There's definitely, if an expert in Black history would look at it, some stuff is not perfect. It's a little offensive, but the fact that she even did that, it's still pioneering. We can talk about birth control, we talk about immigration, anti-Semitism. Unfortunately, the topics are still in discussion today. So I think it's what keeps the movie fresh and current. Hopefully, some of these things will not be related to that era anymore, and we can, evolve socially to a better place.
Yes, that's a good thinking. It's a good way of thinking the material of the documentary. Also, I want to ask you about this thing that I think is an important thing to think about it. Men and writing history in cinema, and Georges Sardou, the great criticism man. He erased Alice Guy from history, and after I don't know if he made some corrections, but that's the main.
He did make corrections.
But,
But I just want to say something about that, because George Seydoux, at the time, there weren't that many historians, right? And silent cinema wasn't being taken seriously. We also had 2 wars. So even if you wanted to try to find her, you probably would have a problem, because there was no internet or texting or Skype or GPS, nothing. So that was part of the problem as well. But he also, among other very few historians, decided what the history of cinema should be. And now, with so many other people, more critics, more research, we can see that he made a lot of, errors, partially because he was a man, of course, and he wanted to promote his friends, but also because he just didn't know.
But the finally the figure of Alice Guy is rising, is in terms of discussion, in terms of being fair with her figure. And I want to ask you if in this job that you made during these several years, have you ever felt frustrated, sad, triste, or frustrada because
yes, very,
because,
because I felt that I made the film because I felt she was robbed, regardless of historians that will complain like, oh, but so many other people are forgotten, etc. But she's the mother of cinema, and her work was lost, so they couldn't even help her if they wanted to. So it was an emotional experience to make the film, because I wanted justice. And now I wish she can see that her face and her images are being shown in different languages all over the world, in Russian, in Poland. Today it's opening in Poland.
wow.
It's going to be in German, in Spanish. It's going to play in Brazil and Bulgaria. So I don't know about spiritual or whatever, but when I go up there, I'll be like, okay, are you happy? And if you're not, too bad.
And what about the idea of being a detective? I mean, you're researching during the movie is amazing. It's like,
thank you.
A lot of will.
I didn't do it alone. I've had a lot of people helping me. It's never a one-person job, but I love detective stories and I love research. So when I discover something new, I get excited.
Yeah, but you did a great job even doing this, relationships among relatives, families,
The descendants, yeah.
the
Because I
descendants.
found it interesting. It's like you're calling somebody, they're nice to you, you don't know where it's going to go, and it's amazing what you can do with a phone call. And then their relatives, it's just unbelievable. So, and when I was younger, I used to prank call people. I don't know if you know what prank call means.
No, what does it mean?
When you're, you call when you're younger and you pretend to be somebody on the phone.
Okay, yeah. Una pitanza.
Yeah, it's no bueno. But it was good practice for today.
It's funny. And
yeah.
Pamela, also, I want to know about the reaction of the cinema family there in LA with your discovery, because it is so strange, when you ask Peter Bogdanovich who is Alice Guy, and he doesn't know Peter Bogdanovich. I mean, he knows everything, but
nobody knows everything. That's the lesson in the movie. Nobody knows everything. There's always more room for discovery. Oh, he loves the film. He was super excited. Hey, Nitrate, stop that. Sorry, my dog, her name is Nitrate. So yeah, it was exciting to see all these faces in the industry become engaged with her filmmaking and her story. And they were my free publicity, because not only was I interviewing them in the documentary to see if they knew about her and what they thought about her, but then what if they tell somebody, and then somebody else tells somebody, and then somebody else tells somebody. So it was not just a documentary, it was a movement to get her known as well. But of course, he fits where he fits in the story. You know, everybody is there for, you know, a purpose in the film, not just because they're famous.
No, no, of course, because they are colleagues and they are part of the.
Well, they're definitely not my colleagues. This is my first documentary. I either work for them or I'm getting to know them. This is my first film, even though my day job, I work on other people's movies. I'm not famous. I'm not a Hollywood person. And I just want to tell good stories, but I'm learning.
So you think you are a kind of beginner?
In some things, I think I know how to edit now. You know, I learned I had to do it myself. But I think we're always learning. I don't think I'm ever going to feel, oh yeah, I have a lot of experience. Never. I always am insecure. When you tell me it's a good documentary, I get nervous because I'm like, oh my God, is it good? I'm not sure. I still question myself.
That's good, but it's super good. And the editing is one of the best things in the documentary, really.
Oh, wow. Thank you. People hate it. So some people are like, what is this? It's terrible. And I was like, well, I don't care, because that's
it's super good. It's like, you know, pumping blood all the time. I love it, that.
Thank you. It needs it. It's a subject that's very old, and you need to make it contemporary, and editing things in a contemporary way keeps people's attention. I mean, we barely have time to look at Twitter. So
exactly.
You know, so that's why I made it. And I wanted it to have a lot of energy, because she had energy, and I wanted to project the excitement of cinema in the beginning, like the excitement of Apple and you know, Steve Jobs, the beginning of computers, etc. That was kind of my comparison, because everything was so fresh and new and moved quickly, and that era did have quick movements, and people just didn't know. So now that they can look at that, they'll be like, oh, they were cool. They were doing cool stuff.
Yeah, that's. I mean, people in what you can look at black and white with the mute movies. They are not static figures. They were alive. They had feelings. I mean, they were like us in a way, just in different era. And I love that comparison that you made between among that era, the beginning of the cinema and the beginning of the social media, with the researching of the language, audiovisual language. That's comparison is very good.
And now I wish we had TikToks in there, because it's exactly the same thing.
It's exactly the same thing. That was super good idea in the documentary. I mean, we're beginning again. It's super cycle. I mean, everything is super circular again.
Cyclical, exactly. And when I first mentioned that, they're like, no, what are you talking about? And now, you know, professors use it in their in their classes. I know, it's funny.
Copyright. You need to have your copyright in that idea. It's a super good idea, and you prove it. And in terms of personal issue, have you ever had many mansplaining in your life, saying to you?
Oh my God, yes.
What to do? What is good? What is not good in your job? I mean,
all the time. Not anymore, because I don't put up with it. But this movie changed me in many ways. My life is very different. I don't listen to any of that anymore. Any negativity, bye. Because it's hard enough to make content as it is. So, and I believed it. I was told, you know, what do you know about editing? What do you know about music? What do you know about creative directing? What do you know about design? What do you know about animation? I didn't go to film school, but I've been all over the world. I've been to museums. I read. I think I have okay taste, you know, and I'm passionate and an emotional compassionate person. And I think that that's what has helped me along the way. But I lost my courage and myself many times when I had a lot of mansplaining. I had editors telling me, you don't do it like this. You have to have this wall with the reels of dividing everything up. And I'm like, oh, you mean like this? And it's funny because the people that were very successful at the top of their game, like Walter Murch, he's a very famous editor. He didn't try to change, because I showed him an early cut. He didn't try to change the movie. He took what I had and said, this is where this can be better. I like locations. I like this, more of this. Instead of like, no, this is terrible. You have to redo it, etc. So thank God I had a lot of supporters, both men and women, more women, that helped me get through the movie and finish it, because it was very, very hard. I wanted to throw everything away. And I used to do well in my day job. I gave up a lot of jobs to do this. I would work from 4 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night. And it was very hard on me financially, emotionally, personal life. I gave up everything for this. So I'm happy, but I'd also want to get back to my life, because I gave a big chunk of my life to history and Alice Guy-Blaché.
Yeah. And in order to know what are you doing now, Pamela, can you tell me a little bit what are your next steps in terms of filmmaking, filmmaking?
Yes, I am working with Cosima and Joan Simon, and the some of the producers of Be Natural, writing a TV series about detectives.
Great.
That's all I can say right now.
No, fantastic. I love the true crime dramas and all that stuff.
Yes.
My wife and I were kind of addicted to them.
Yeah, it's true stories, and they're female centric.
No, that's what I mean. Is what you want to do, isn't it? Have this.
Well, I could, if somebody
focus.
called me to do Fast and Furious number 14, I would probably say yes, because I love action. I like cars. I like action. I like motorcycles. I love comedy. People think because you make one thing that that's who you are, but it's like, no, I like a lot of different things. But that's why I don't wait for Hollywood. I have to go out there and do it myself, because people are like, oh, she just makes documentaries, or she just makes graphics.
The label.
Yeah, and I don't like that. Hollywood did not make this movie at all. It was me doing a Kickstarter, fundraising, door to door. Please give me money.
Robert Redford, Hugh Hefner.
Yeah, Hugh Hefner donated $500,000, gave for free before he died. And then Jamie Wolf is another executive producer. She's a donor, Regina Scully. The movie is completely donation based. There's no investors. So it's completely out of doing this for Alice. And Jodie Foster is also somebody who, not only she's a director, she's a producer, she's an actor. So I learned a lot from her as well, but she's been supportive all the way.
Okay, Pamela, I want to thank you so much for your time, and I hope as you say, the shorter the better. So
yes.
Thank you so much for the chatting, and congratulations again for your documentary. It's very good. It's an important masterclass of cinema. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, please stay in touch.
See. I hope if you come to Chile, we can say hi, and the coronavirus thing maybe is over.
Well, hopefully no more corona, because our distributor is going to try to get it in the theaters theatrically.
Yeah, that's the idea. I hope Rod could do it. Yes. Thank you so much, and have a nice day. Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.